What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing Godzilla-Thon episode 24. This one is going to be my review of Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla, and yeah, I don't have anything else to say for the intro. Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla. This is a super weird movie. I almost break it into two movies, and I know it might be weird, but towards the end, if I remember, I'm probably going to wind up giving it two different ratings, because it is two different movies. There's the first half of the movie, which is a Showa throwback film. Then there's the second half of the movie, which is a very slow, boring, I don't want to say like typical Heisei movie, because usually up to this point in the Heisei era, up until Godzilla vs. Mothra, the movies have been pretty great. And then Mothra vs. Godzilla wasn't that good. I thought Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla brings it back. And then this movie comes, and it's like the first half I love. Obviously, you guys have, if you've been watching Godzilla-Thon since the start, you know I'm a sucker for the Showa era. But then the second half just really loses me, because we'll get into it. Mainly, it's because this movie has a lot of nostalgia for me. I used to watch it when I'd go on vacation out to Minnesota in summers. I used to watch it when I was out there. I used to bring it with me, and I'd watch it when I was going to sleep, and so I was only ever awake for the first half of the movie, you know? So it's like, I guess I could have had a stronger connection with the second half of this movie if I watched it more, but I feel like I've seen the first half of this movie, like, a lot, like 50 plus times. The second half of this movie probably like 10 or 11, if that. That's being super generous. And then this is on a double pack DVD set that I got as a kid of Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla and Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. And as a little kid, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah used to terrify me. That movie just freaked me out, so I'd always watch Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla, but I'd never make it to the end. I'd fall asleep before then, and it's not because the movie's boring. It's just because I like to watch, or at least I used to like to watch movies when I go to sleep. Now I can't do that. It just keeps me up. Anyways, I don't really have any nostalgia for the second half of this movie, and the second half is a total shift in change, or a total shift in tone. So it just is really jarring, and yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. So the movie starts out: a strange space creature crosses through a black hole. This is, of course, Spacegodzilla. Now, some sort of strange crystal crashes on an island, waking up Godzilla in the ocean. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of a meteor or something from space falling in this series that wakes up Godzilla. Something along these lines. You're used to it. We're all used to it. This stuff happens all the time. Mechagodzilla is turned into a Transformer Guerra. So, because he was annihilated last movie, which is awesome. I love the way that Godzilla just blows him up. That's awesome. Anyways, I don't know why I'm going off on the side note. Well, I do know why. It's because I'm talking about Mechagodzilla. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've been so busy within the last week that I honest to God forgot what movie I was supposed to be reviewing, and I was getting prepared to do my Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 review, and then I was like, hey, wait a minute, I did that last week, so now I'm here. It's alright, I just watched Spacegodzilla again, so this is all pretty fresh for me. Now, Guerra, I have some mixed feelings on Guerra. Number one, I love the fact that they bring back an obscure Toho kaiju from the Golden Age, from the 60s. So Guerra was, of course, from the Mysterians, and he was kind of this, like, I've never seen the Mysterians, but from what I know, he's like this big robot, clunky looking, looks super dumb, and he destroys stuff because he's evil in that movie, to my knowledge. Now, we have this movie where he's a good guy, so they do the whole Mechagodzilla role reversal. He's a good guy this time, and I don't know, I feel like the design is okay. It doesn't look bad, in my opinion. It doesn't look as good as Mechagodzilla would. It looks kind of dopey compared to Mechagodzilla, which is funny because the Heisei Mechagodzilla looks dopey compared to any other Mechagodzilla. So I guess Guerra just kind of looks dopey overall, but I do think he's really cool. And I don't know, I never really liked Guerra until I got the SH Monstars Guerra. And then once I got that, it kind of made me take a second look at the robot from the movie, and I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. He's actually pretty cool. I think I also had a little bit of that back in Godzilla Rulers of Earth, if I remember correctly. He was used there, and in there, if I'm remembering the right comic, I was like, oh yeah, he's kind of cool. So I've kind of been on an upward slope with Guerra. I've kind of been getting used to him and liking him a lot more. I also really like the Transformer aspect of him, where kind of like Super Mechagodzilla, where he could split into Garuda and Mechagodzilla, Guerra can split into a land and air unit, which is pretty sweet. Now, Miki Sagusa, back in this movie, not doing too much, sadly. She's doing a lot of complaining. That's what she's doing. She's very upset with G-Force because, first of all, she's having a little bit of emotional trauma, seeing as though she killed Godzilla only for him to be revived and nearly kill her. So she's having a little bit of emotional trauma with that, as well as the fact that now she views Godzilla as a living, breathing animal, not just some big monster. She's seen that he has a kid, and she's seen that he loves the kid, so she knows that he has a personality and that he's not just this soulless, like, killing machine. Which is cool. I love the Heisei story arc of Godzilla, how he starts out just this brutal killer, and then as the series goes on, you learn more about him, and it's not that he becomes a better... He's not like a good guy. He never becomes a good guy, but you learn enough about him to be like, yeah, I can cope with this thing's existence just as long as, we can find something to do with it so that it's not constantly trying to kill us. Whereas the Showa Godzilla just kind of straight up becomes the good guy, so I like the way they do it here. Anyways, Mickey has another reason to be upset. Now she's upset with G-Force because they're trying to make her get into this program called Project T so that they can telepathically control Godzilla. There's a really cool reference to Godzilla vs. Biollante in here. There's actually a load of references to Godzilla vs. Biollante in here where they go back to the class that they were in last movie. And then, of course, they were in that class in Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is a class for learning telepaths. And the people from G-Force are kind of like, yeah, you know what? We might as well just use these kids if you're not going to help us. And they'll telepathically control Godzilla. And Mickey's like, hey, that's like really morally ambiguous. You shouldn't do that. I'll do it. I'll take the fall, I guess. Which is, good guy Mickey. Mickey goes outside. She's all upset. Now, she connects to Mothra, who is en route to the meteor from, 2 movies ago. She's flying there to kill herself and stop the meteor from hitting Earth. As she's flying through space, she it's a super weird scene. I'm not sure what it's supposed to mean. She kind of like leaves behind some tiny little full-grown Mothra. Okay, that sounded really weird. Okay, she basically poops out adult Mothras, but they are extremely small. They're like human-sized. And then they kind of fly through space. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. And then later on, we see them again, and they're like way smaller than human size. So it's pretty weird. I don't know why they wouldn't be the larvas. I really don't like this scene. It's pretty stupid if you ask me. It's cool to see Mothra again though. Some G-Force soldiers land on a small island. This is where the Showa aspect really kicks in. The Showa movies all had lots of islands in them, or at least the early Showa movies. No, never mind. All of them did. Now that I think about it, yeah, you had Son of Godzilla takes place on an island. This feels like a little bit of a throwback to Son of Godzilla. You have Destroy All Monsters takes place on an island a little bit. Godzilla vs. Gigan a little bit. Godzilla All Monsters Attack does on an island. Son of Godzilla, or I already said that one. Ebra Horror of the Deep takes place on an island. A lot of the Showa movies take place on or near an island. Also, you had Godzilla Raids Again takes place on an island, and so does Odo Island in the 54 movie. That all is on an island, obviously. So lots of islands in the Showa era. So it's cool to see them going back, and they're having a lot of fun there. It's cool. I like the way that it feels very throwback to those movies, even though at this point in history, those movies weren't that far off in their history. They were like only 10, 20 years old. During an investigation of the island, some strange crystals are found, and they're steaming. Ooh, mysterious. Shindo, Sato, and Yuki all meet up on the island. Yuki has been there for quite a while. By the way, Yuki winds up playing, the actor who plays him winds up playing a character in Shin Godzilla later on, so it's really cool to see him kind of in his prime here. So Yuki's been there quite a while. He's pretty hardened. He's actually my favorite character in the movie, minus that infamous shot of where it's just a close-up on his butt. He's like my favorite character in the movie. He's very down to business, and he's always wanted to kill Godzilla. I like him a lot. I think he's pretty cool. And then by the end of the movie, he's all, yeah, Godzilla's all right, I guess. They all meet the cute little Godzilla, and I don't understand the hate. All right, I do not understand why everyone hates little Godzilla so much. I just feel like everyone bags on him. They're like, oh, he looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy. He doesn't. He looks fine. He looks cute. He looks like exactly what he's supposed to look like. He looks like a little cat when you look at his face. I like him. I like the design. It does exactly what they set out to do, which was make a little cute Godzilla. They did a perfect job at that. Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense in continuity because you have last movie with him looking just like a little version of Godzilla, like a little green version, I guess. And then you have this movie where suddenly he stands upright more. He's not like hunched over as much. His whole appearance has really changed. He doesn't even resemble what he used to last movie, and he sort of resembles Godzilla, but not too much. I think it's cool to see how much he's grown. He's pretty much a full-grown adult Godzillasaur when you think about it, because the Godzillasaur shouldn't be that tall. Actually, I think little Godzilla might be a little bit taller than the Godzillasaurs themselves, if I'm thinking about it correctly. So it's kind of weird to see that he didn't take the same evolutionary path as his predecessors, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because they wanted a cute looking Godzilla, or maybe it's supposed to be like a little bit of that, the radiation taking over aspect, slowly turning him into Godzilla that we get next movie. We get a little bit of that here. He does at one point try to do the atomic breath, and he utterly fails at it. Not as bad as Minya. He doesn't even puff smoke rings. He kind of like shoots out these like atomic rays everywhere. I don't know what the deal is, why he looks so different. I like it, and yeah. Also, that's totally why my character on the thumbnail looks kind of weird, is because I realize I'm a pretty cute guy, and I didn't want to distract from little Godzilla, who's supposed to be the cute one. That was definitely the intention when I sloppily put myself together in the bottom after spending a really long time drawing Godzilla and Spacegodzilla and little Godzilla. So when NASA's space station is attacked by some giant crystals, it's a pretty terrible scene. Like, it looks really bad. Special effects are not well done. We're just gonna move right past that. I don't have too much to say about it. A tiny Mothra transporting the cosmos shows up to Mickey. This is when you see it, and it's like not even human size, like super small, like smaller than the size of Mickey's head. I don't know what the deal is. The Cosmos warn Mickey of Spacegodzilla, and Mickey decides to join Project Telepathy to protect Godzilla until then. Turns out Godzilla likes the island that our main characters are living on, so some tear gas bombs are set up to stop him from landing on it. Which is also really cool because it's like, it's cool to think that Godzilla has a hangout place that he likes to go. I don't know. I just think that's kind of a cool idea that he has a home that he can return to. I like that. I like that thought. So, Yuki, the dude who winds up playing a character in Shin Godzilla, has a special bullet containing some of Rando Yaguchi's coagulant, apparently, because one shot and Godzilla is supposedly dead. It's pretty cool to think about the fact that someone has a magic bullet that can kill Godzilla, although they don't really get to show it off too much in the movie. So G-Force picks up on Spacegodzilla heading for Earth, and they all freak out. Guerra is sent out to fight Spacegodzilla in space. It's a space battle. It looks pretty terrible. The asteroids around them don't look great. The background's just pure black. I really don't like the space battle, and if you want to do a space battle, do it the way they did it in Invasion of Astro Monster. Just set it on another planet. Don't have it be a fully in-space battle, because then it's going to look really weird, and it does look really weird. Unless you're doing it in modern technology, you just can't pull that off. Project T is set up on the island that everyone's hanging out on. Little Godzilla triggers the landmines, which is a cool scene because you just see the pink smoke going off, and everyone's freaking out like, oh shoot, Godzilla's here, and they're all rushing into action, but he's not. It's a cool mislead. Immediately afterward, Mickey picks up on Godzilla's signal before Godzilla makes landfall on the island, which is also a really cool scene. However, it does take Godzilla quite a while to make his way on land. He kind of like slowly trucks his way there, but it is really cool to see him slowly coming up through the water. Special effects are great, really well handled. This is by far, in my opinion, the most classic looking Godzilla design of all times. This is the one they use for many video games, toys. This is just the standard Godzilla looking design. It is the most classic version of that, and for that reason, I love it. I love the design. I know a lot of people hate it. The tail's way too long. He's a little fat. I don't have a problem with that. As I said with Shin Godzilla, I don't have a problem with his super long tail. And then the fatness, he's actually been slimmed down from the last movie, or at the very least, he's more proportional. So I do like this design better. And then I think the face looks a lot better. I think he just looks super classic. It's great. And the music from Ifukube flares up, and for a second there, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, Ifukube did not score this movie. I know he didn't. But it is cool to hear them use his music. He didn't score the movie, and for that reason, it is cool to think about the fact that we finally have another Godzilla director. We get this a little bit in the Millennium series as well, who is okay using Ifukube's music to accompany their own. Now, actually, I don't know if that statement's 100% correct, because I've never seen the Japanese cut of this movie, and I don't know if Ifukube's music is present in the Japanese cut. I would assume it would be, but I know for some movies they change the soundtrack. Yuki tries to get the drop on Godzilla, but sadly he failed. Well, sadly, I guess sadly for him, he fails after Godzilla blows up some of the gas mines and all the gas goes in his face and he has to get out of there quick. Like I said, the special effects in this scene are amazing. I love seeing Godzilla in the water. It looks really good. You really get a sense of scale this scene of how big Godzilla is, with the low angles of Godzilla and the high angles of everyone running around makes them feel really small and him feel really big. I think the shots of him in nature are really cool. We don't really see too much of Godzilla in actual nature. Usually, you know, they have Godzilla with those little sets and everything, and you can tell that it's not 100% real, but here it's just the dude in the Godzilla suit walking up on a beach, and it looks amazing. Plus they use some great like, I don't know if it's like green screen effects or something, but they insert Godzilla into the real location again, like they've been doing throughout the Heisei era, and it looks really good. They pull it off super well. I just think they do a great job with the special effects, and I know there is an infamous scene coming up in this movie when the tip of Godzilla's tail kind of falls apart and it falls off almost. It's not too noticeable unless you're looking for it. In fact, I was looking for it and I didn't even see it, but after watching it a second time, I did notice it. I've seen it before, it's not something that sticks out to me. Project T is put into action. Yuki bombs Godzilla, who has a super long tail like I mentioned. Shinjo shoots Godzilla with an amplifier that will emit a signal so that Mickey can tap into it and can try and control Godzilla's brainwaves. Yuki misses his shot, meaning that he doesn't get to shoot and kill Godzilla. Mickey sends a message to Godzilla making him change direction so that he won't get in the path of, Yuki, who's like there to kill him. Yuki goes after Godzilla, and I do apologize, I got something out of order. It is now in the movie that the space battle takes place with the terrible set with Spacegodzilla and Guerra. Earlier when I mentioned it, they actually in the movie they actually just sent Guerra into action. I got that out of order, but I'm willing to bet most of you didn't notice that. Project T's leader, I don't remember his name. He knocks out Mickey kind of on accident. He just kind of turns up the amplifier so much that it like fries her brain for a second. She passes out. And Spacegodzilla plans to land on Earth. So when Spacegodzilla finally does land, little Godzilla goes to investigate. I love the fact, the continuity, that his eyes still glow red when he's scared. He sees Spacegodzilla and he freaks out, which is a really good character moment for him because he sees him and at first he's trying to figure out, is this my dad? Like, what's going on? Why does he look like that? And then he's kind of freaked out and he jumps backwards and his eyes light up red and he's all terrified. Like I said, I love the carryover continuity. I'm always a sucker for continuity, as you guys know. Godzilla goes to fight, but is bested by the gravity beams the Spacegodzilla has, and is also beat by Spacegodzilla's force field. Every time Godzilla uses the atomic breath, it's just deflected, and then anytime he tries to get close, he's lifted and dropped away, and he can't do anything. So Godzilla's weak, trying to protect Junior, who is kidnapped by Spacegodzilla. There's a great scene right before Junior's taken from him, where Godzilla and little Godzilla are hugging. They're kind of like backing away, and little Godzilla's all freaked out, and Godzilla can't get a hold of him, can't keep him there, and Spacegodzilla winds up taking him away for a power source of some sort, kind of like a battery. He's used as a battery. Godzilla has a new blue atomic breath that has some hints of red in it, which is, of course, a carryover of the things that we've been seeing from last movie through this movie till next movie, where he has the red atomic breath, the red spiral ray. In this movie, he has this new atomic breath that shoots these kind of blue and red spirals. It's like a blue spiral atomic breath, so it's maybe stronger than the one that he's had previously. I'm not totally sure, but it looks different at the very least. And also, fun fact, remember a couple movies ago when I was bagging on how bad the new sound effect for Godzilla's atomic breath in Godzilla vs. Mothra was? Godzilla 154 just pointed this out to me on Instagram, that sound effect is actually the sound effect they used for Shin Godzilla's purple atomic breath. So if you were wondering why I was saying it's like this really high-pitched, annoying version of what it usually is, now you guys know what I'm talking about. I think it works in Shin Godzilla because it's like trying to be like that. It's trying to be like a super high-pitched blowtorch sound, but in Godzilla vs. Mothra, I don't think it works. I think they should have just kept it the same as it always was. Anyways, getting back into Godzilla vs. Spacegodzilla, he leaves. He's defeated. He's forced to leave. Space Godzilla flies off, and there's nothing he can do about it. One of the leaders of Project Telepathy, Miss Gondo, is a relative of Gondo from Godzilla vs. Biollante. This is where we really, really, really find out that the movie still is in this continuity. If you're wondering how Godzilla vs. Biollante could have happened, how the events of that movie could have happened, how Godzilla could have killed Gondo, go watch Godzilla vs. Biollante because a lot of people skip that one, and it's a great movie. Go watch my review for it also if you haven't. It's a fantastic movie. So if you want to know all about Gondo and why he died and how he died, go watch that and go watch my review. But if you're like, how could this even be possible that movie still is in continuity after King Ghidorah when they go back and erase Godzilla from history? That's because they failed to erase Godzilla from history. When the Futurians come back, they transport Godzilla's body from Lagos Island to the ocean. All that does is prevent him from turning into Godzilla in 1954. He still turns into Godzilla, and he turns into Godzilla in the 1970s. He's awakened in the 1980s by a volcano, and the events of Godzilla in 1984 and Godzilla vs. Biollante still take place. That's all still within the continuity. That never changes, no matter what. That is why in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, when they come back to the future, Mickey's still like, yeah, no, I have telepathy, listen to me, when I'm telling you Godzilla still exists, I have his signal. And then when they go and send the nuclear sub to blow up Godzilla and turn the Godzillasaur into Godzilla, they're like, hey, wait a minute, Godzilla's already down here, and he's attacking us, so... If you were confused about that, now you're not. If you really want to go in depth with it, go watch my Timeline Explained video. I totally go crazy in depth with it in that video. So we find out that earlier, Biollante's cells, when they fly up into space, carried Godzilla cells with them, of course, because she's a clone of Godzilla with some plant DNA mixed in. Now, this could have transported itself into a black hole that turned into Space Godzilla. Or the second theory they pose is that Mothra flies out into space and she's still carrying Godzilla's cells on her from their battle, and those cells transform into Space Godzilla. So they offer two very elaborate kind of ways that this could have come about. They never say which one's definitive. They kind of imply that the Mothra one is probably the definitive one. So Yuki becomes Mogera's new pilot. Shinjo and Sato are both beaten in their sleep on the island. They stayed back on the island. They're beaten in their sleep, and Mickey is taken away from them in the night. She's kidnapped. We find out that Yuki was Gondo's best friend, and that is why he wants to kill Godzilla so bad, is because Godzilla killed Gondo. Once again, I'm a sucker for continuity. I love it. Mickey was kidnapped by the leader of Project Telepathy. Again, I don't remember that loser's name. He's a really annoying character. I hate him. So, he wants to use Godzilla as a weapon. Mickey's all freaked out about it. G-Force breaks in. They try and rescue Mickey. They have Shinjo and Gondo. They wind up fighting the Mafia, the Japanese Mafia, which is really cool, and they wind up fighting the leader of Project T. Now, Mickey levitates. She levitates this big, huge table and allows I don't know if it's Shinjo or Sato, I forgot which one it is, but she levitates so that one of them can shoot the leader of Project T or whatever. So it's pretty cool to see her using her telepathy in that way. She's even in the movie like, whoa, I didn't know I had that superpower, but it's pretty cool. So Space Godzilla kills Kubo. I guess that's the name of the Project T guy. I guess I did write it down. So I guess his name is Kubo. So he's not actually shot and killed. He gets away when Mickey levitates. Now he's killed by Space Godzilla, and Space Godzilla destroys everything. I believe Mickey summoned Space Godzilla to the area, but I don't totally remember. Space Godzilla heads to Tokyo. I don't know if this is right, but what I wrote down was Azuki is put in charge of Guerra because Yuki is saving Mickey. I don't know who Azuki is. Is that really a character's name? I have not said that name once this whole review, so I'm kind of confused. I don't remember. I don't remember if that's a character name or if I just heard the name in the movie and I wrote it down really fast and I just guessed on what the name was and I guessed wrong. I don't know. Now Yuki, Shinjo, and Sato pilot Guerra. Space Godzilla turns Fukuoka into his headquarters. The main tower there, I don't know what it's called, is turned into his power supply. Godzilla heads into battle. Yuki tries to attack Godzilla before he is knocked out so that Guerra can return to its planned course and attack Space Godzilla. Guerra fights Space Godzilla for quite a while. This is where the end battle starts, and the end battle is like 30 to 40 minutes long. Way too long for an ending battle. I don't know what it is with this movie and the last movie, but they just decided to draw that stuff out, and they draw it way too far out, especially this movie. So the end fight just drags and drags and drags. Guerra fights Space Godzilla for quite a while. Guerra goes down. He's nearly destroyed. Godzilla shows up to fight before he's gravity beamed away. He's taken out of the situation. Godzilla figures out where Space Godzilla's power supply is coming from, and he goes to attack the tower, which is really cool, a great display of Godzilla's intelligence. Guerra separates into an air and land vehicle so that he can do double damage. Guerra and Godzilla both take down the tower together. It's cool to see them working together, which is nice. Guerra comes back as one, blows off Space Godzilla's shoulders, which makes it so that he can no longer draw power from things around him. Mickey and Shinjo telepathically save Yuki, and he is saved from the destroyed Guerra. Guerra blows up. Godzilla supercharges himself, uses the awesome red spiral ray, just like he does in the last movie, kills Space Godzilla, and then the movie is over. Overall, the human stuff is really good. It's quite fun. It is a bit convoluted. There's a lot going on, like the Project T stuff that's really unimportant, but it's pretty fun. It's a great Showa throwback. The special effects are really good, minus a couple things here and there. Godzilla's tail and the space battle. The pacing is really bad. It starts off really fast and entertaining, but is way too slow by the end. Like I said, the 30-minute plus battle is just way too much. The kaiju stuff is pretty good in this movie, but the music is just alright. I don't really have an opinion on the music other than it's not great. I was really struggling, in fact, to find a song to use for the intro of this video. None of the songs in this movie, I don't think, stand out that much, other than Ifukube's stuff, and I didn't want to use his. So I had to, wind up mix and mashing a couple songs. So if you listen to the intro again and you're like, it sounds weird, it's because I actually remastered one of the songs from the movie in order to get it to sound a little cooler so that it could, be a little bit more exciting for the intro. Now, like I said, I am going to give this movie 2 reviews. So for the first half, the Showa throwback, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Solid, good fun. The second half of the movie, I'm going to have to give it something like a 6 out of 10. It's just not that good, and I could have averaged them both and come out with a score, but I didn't want to do that. I just want to, just say, this movie's not, I could just give it a 7 out of 10 or whatever, but I just want to say this movie's, not bad. It starts out really fun, but it just ends kind of bad. That's the only problem, is that the first half is good. I love it. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just hate the whole movie. I love the first half. It's the second half of this movie that I believe kills it. So, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if the ending of this video seems kind of rushed, but I do have something that I have to go do for a little bit, so sorry if it did. I don't know. I don't know if it did, but thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed. I keep saying that. I feel like I've said that 18 times now. D-Man, out.